As an Ubuntu user, have you ever found a Linux app you wanted to install only to discover it's available only for Arch Linux? No deb package, no snap, not even Flatpaks. Compiling from source code is the last resort. But then source code compilation can be messy and definitely intimidating in 2026. There is an alternative, and that I discuss in this video. I'll show you how to safely install AUR packages from Arch Linux user repository on Ubuntu using Distrobox without switching distros or breaking your system. Let's see. The Arch user repository is a massive collection of community maintained packages. If a software exists for Linux, 99.9% chances are that someone has already packaged it for AUR. Problem is that AUR is meant for Arch Linux, not Ubuntu. So normally you cannot install these packages directly. But with Distrobox, you can run an Arch Linux environment inside Ubuntu and install AUR packages inside that. Distrobox allows you to run containers that feel like part of your system. This is not like a heavy virtual machine. It integrates tightly with your host OS. You can access files, launch apps, and even export programs to your main system. You can create containers of different distributions and use them almost like native environments. And that is exactly what we will do today. Create an Arch Linux container inside Ubuntu. Let's open a terminal and install Distrobox. You will notice something important here. Podman is selected automatically as a dependency. If Podman doesn't get installed automatically, just install both Dropbox and Podman together. Now, why Podman and not Docker, which is more popular? Because Docker typically needs root permissions to run containers, and Distrobox aims for tight integration with your system, and running containers in rootless mode is safer and cleaner. And Podman allows exactly that. So your container runs with user level permission instead of root access. And that's a big win for security. Okay, let's verify that everything is installed properly. So let's check the Distrobox version and also Podman version. And if both commands work, we are ready to go. Before creating our container, we will set up a couple of directories to keep things organized. First, we create a dedicated home directory for the container. Why do this? Because otherwise, the container may start modifying your main home directory config files like .bash rc. Temporary files might also clutter your system. So, by giving the container its own home, everything stays clean and isolated. And when you're done, you can just delete this folder and remove everything related to the container. Next, we create a directory to store exported commands. Some systems already have this, but the default Ubuntu usually doesn't. So we create it and add it to the path variable. For that, open the bash rc file in Nano or whatever editor you prefer and add this line at the end. Of course, replace with your username here, save the file, exit it, and restart the terminal. Now comes the fun part, creating an Arch Linux container using Distrobox. For that, you can run this command, which seems like intimidating at first, but let's quickly understand what exactly this command does. So here, we are creating a container named Arch container, and we are using the official Arch Linux image from Docker Hub. Then we are setting its home directory to the folder we created earlier. So, even though the container has its own home, it can still access your main system directories. And that is one of the reasons Distrobox feels so well integrated with your system. Once created, enter the container using this command. The no work dir option ensures that we land in the container's home directory instead of the current host directory. Inside the container, let's just check where home is. you will see that it points to the Arch home folder we created. And if we list the contents, you will notice that Arch has created its own config files here. So everything stays contained and organized. Now let's update Arch Linux inside the container. You won't need a password here. That's because root privileges inside the root list container are mapped to your normal user privileges on the host. So even if something goes wrong, it cannot damage your system files. Before installing AUR packages, we need the build essentials. Let's get them as these tools are required to compile AUR packages that you will see in the next step. Now we are truly entering the Arch domain. Installing packages from AUR becomes a lot easier with an AUR helper. So let's install Paru, a popular AUR helper. First, clone it, and then build, and then install it. This may take some time, so just wait for it to finish. I could not find a good example of an application that was not in deb or snap format but was available in AUR. But that doesn't matter because in this tutorial, our purpose is to see and learn how we can install an Arch Linux package in Ubuntu, and that we can do with any application. Like here, I'm going to install Gen browser from AUR. Note that AUR packages are community maintained, so pro Arch users make it a habit to read the package build file and make sure that nothing suspicious is included here. Anyways, Paru shows this file before installation. Press Q to exit the viewer and then confirm to proceed. Also remember, containers start minimal. So the first installation may pull a lot of dependencies. So you will have to wait longer than usual. Once installed, you can launch Gen browser directly from the container terminal. But that's not what we were looking for, right? So let's integrate it into the main host system. Inside the container, run the Distrobox export command. Once that is complete, open your system menu and search for Gen. You will see it listed, and the description will mention the container name. It behaves like a native app. And why just stop at GUI? Let's install a command line tool too. This is a terminal calendar app, and once installed, to export it, we should find where it is located first, and then we export it. Once exported, you can run it directly from your Ubuntu terminal, the host terminal. And if you check, you will see that it points to your local bin directory. That's the magic of Distrobox integration. Installing an application is one thing, but you should also think about updating them from time to time if you're going to use it in the long run. To update everything later, enter the container again and then run paru minus syu. The S is capital here. This updates both Arch packages and AUR packages, all of them together. To remove a GUI app installed via Distrobox from your menu, you can use this Distrobox export command and with the delete option. Similarly, to remove a CLI tool installed with Dropbox, you can use Distrobox export by providing its path. Now, note that this removes only the integration, not the actual package. To fully remove packages, you will have to take help of the pacman command inside the container, which is like this. If you are not happy with the Arch Linux container installed via Distrobox in your pristine Ubuntu environment, you can stop the container first and then remove it. This keeps the home directory intact. If you want to remove everything, you can use the RM home option alongside. Once you have removed the container, you can also remove the image and free up the disk space. And that's it. With this setup, you can safely use AUR packages on Ubuntu without breaking your system or compiling manually or switching distributions. You get the massive software library of Arch combined with the stability of Ubuntu. It's one of those solutions, that feels like a superpower once you start using it. And I do hope that you like the superpower. Stay subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.